Jesus grew up and he was raised in an agricultural society. That is why in so many of the parables and in so much of his teaching you hear agricultural illustrations and implications. He speaks about a sower who goes out to seed. He speaks about a vine and a branch. He speaks about bearing much fruit. His listeners would have understood that. And as he used agricultural language, there's some tremendous theological implications that come from that. For example, behind me is our family garden. We tilled it a few weeks ago and planted some a few days ago. And there's just tremendous implications that you learn from that and that your children can learn. And to watch single seeds get put into the ground and for them to come up out of the earth and then to eventually bear much fruit is really a curious thing to watch. But as Jesus even taught in his teaching, a seed, when it's put in the ground, before it can ever bear fruit, it must die. It must die, and from death comes life. Jesus instructs us and he commands us and he asks us the question. He says, what profit is it if you gain the entire world but yet you lose your soul? Or what have you gained if you lose your soul? Men and women, we are commanded that if we're going to follow Jesus, we must crucify ourselves daily. We must die daily and then follow Christ. What is Jesus doing to capture your attention? Do you resist the ways that he captures your attention? Do you resist him gaining and calling for the attention of your heart? Maybe the means that he uses are not exactly the most comfortable, but have you found it difficult to die daily? Are you bearing much fruit? Are you bearing any fruit? Is God needing to prune the dead branches from you? Do you resist the pruning? As we meditate on the Scripture, as we assess our own motivation in following Jesus, let us ask ourselves the question, do we resist when God arrests our attention in order for us to put to death something standing in the way of bearing much fruit? If we don't bear fruit, we are useless to our Father. May God help us to be bearers of much fruit.